The midterm elections are a tale of two cities, in a world where perception is reality. For Democrats, the case is a battle for democracy. Now, that should be an easy sell, right? A new poll says 71% of registered voters say democracy is currently under threat. But here's the question. Who does this concern benefit? Democrats say them and point to Trump, right? It was just revealed that a judge found that Trump signed legal documents that he knew included false voter fraud numbers. He and his allies knew that their claims of widespread voter fraud in Georgia had no basis in fact, but kept pushing these false claims in courts and, of course, in public. U.S. District Court Judge David O. Carter ruled that emails from Trump's attorney, John Eastman, who had a hand in his last-ditch attempt to overturn the 2020 election, should be turned over to the January 6th committee. What will they find? Sure enough, the committee subpoenaed the former president to testify today, and his boy, Steve Bannon, was also sentenced today for refusing to comply with their subpoenas. So why isn't a blue wave coming? Well, if it doesn't, it's because perception is reality. And when you look deeper into that poll that says 71% express a concern, and when I say deeper, I mean look at the crosstabs, okay? There's a split on who is to blame for democracy's woes, right along the damnable party lines. Having democracy protected is a consensus issue. Who the threat is not. Political hearings have jumped the shark, which hopefully means that the GOP won't go down the same road if they come into power. And Democratic efforts to distill facts drives clarity of their cause, but every bit as much as those efforts play to an abusive process on the right, aka a witch hunt, that's what they call it. And no one with clout in the GOP is going to say otherwise. Again, messaging matters, especially when perception is reality, especially when leading up to an election. So, who stands to win this democracy battle? Here to help us understand why the Democrats are failing in owning what could be their issue, Salon's White House columnist Brian Karem, author of Free the Press. Remember, he was the reporter who asked Trump to his face before the election if he was planning on accepting a peaceful transfer of power. The president would not answer him. Brian, it's good to have you.
Good to be here, Chris, and congratulations on your new show. It looks good.
Thank you. Thank you for making it look good. So what is your take on why the battle for democracy still divides right down party lines?
Because the Democrats are horrible at messaging. They always have been. We have two countries. We have two parties in this country, two political parties. One is the party of no heart, and one is the party of no head. The Republicans have no heart. They are win at all costs. The Democrats have no head for the fight. They're too busy fighting with each other, throwing each other under the bus, and they don't play to the issues. They don't frame the issues. They let the GOP frame the issues, and they react to those issues. So for the Democrats, it's really a simple maneuver. They have more numbers, and they also have probably the most bipartisan issue to play on, and that's the Dobbs decision, which overturned Roe v. Wade. They also have another large bipartisan issue. That's the infrastructure bill, which, by the way, has done more to help out red states than anything Donald Trump ever did while he was in office. He promised us infrastructure week every week for 4 years and never delivered. Biden did deliver, but they don't really play on those two key messages. For the Democrats, it's real easy. They should, the message they should be saying is, we've got this, just go out and vote, because they have more numbers than the GOP. That very simple message is they never deliver, and they don't know how to deliver on the issues. They let the GOP frame the issues, and then they react to the GOP. And that's not changed, and it's hurting them.
Do you think the former president will testify?
I think the former president's going to be indicted. I don't know if he's going to testify. I would be very surprised if he showed up before Congress and testified before the committee. And I think he'll try to pull it, what he always does, put everything off as long as he can. And if the GOP takes over the House in the midterm elections, he won't have to worry about showing up, because that committee will not, will cease to exist. The GOP will get rid of it.